Today, I'd like to show you how to make a water wheel from TinkerCad. So, first thing is we come into TinkerCad, and as you can see, here's the plane that we'll be working on. I'll go ahead and drag out a box. And as you can see, just double check right here. It says snap grid that it is set to 1 millimeter. Okay, so 1 millimeter means every one of these little tiny squares is 1 millimeter. So from here to here, there are 10 squares. So 10 and 10, that means this is 1 square centimeter. Okay? Now, once we have done that, what we want to do is we want to flatten this out. I'll make it a little bit more, 5 millimeter. Okay, so that should be plenty thick. Now, as you can see, this is just a square. So what I want to do next is I want to make sure I get snapped onto the grid. Now I want to pull it out. I want this to be approximately 6 centimeters. Okay. Okay, here's 6 centimeters or 60 millimeter. Now, this will be the hand, or in technical term, the spoke of the water wheel. Okay, so we have that part done. Now what I want to do is I want to make a little scooper to catch the water. And I'll use one of these rooftop right here, and I attach it together. So we're going to make sure you can see it's not attached. So I want to make sure it's attached. Okay, so now we know it is attached, but it is not quite on the same exact plane. Okay, here it is. So this part is done. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to go ahead and duplicate this with this button right here. Okay, now we pull it out, and what this is going to be is actually we're going to make a hole, because we want this right now. This shape is a solid, so we're going to make it a hole and put it inside so it actually becomes like a spoon. And we use right here, we select this. Now we have to put it in, but this is the exact same size, so we have to make it a little bit smaller. Okay, and as you can see, this is 2 centimeters. So what we want to do is maybe put it over here first. Okay, so we see this is exactly 2 centimeters square. So let's make it maybe 18 by 18. No, maybe 17 by 17. And now that is done, so it'll fit in there, but the top is still the same height. So as you can see right here, it's still 10 or well, 1 centimeter. So what we want to do is want to come back to the shape and want to make it a little bit smaller. So maybe what was this one before? 17. So we'll make it to 7 then. Okay. Now what we can do is we drag this back out here. Even make this even smaller then. So maybe 15 then. 15 by 15. Okay, close enough. All right, around this. That's for sure. We're going to fit everything in. So let's do it again. And we want to align and align. As you can see, there's a hole right there. Okay, so we're happy with that. And now what we can do is go ahead and group this. So this is one shape. So what we want to do is we want to duplicate this again. pull it out, and let's put this over here. Make sure everything is exactly right. Okay, that's good. So now let's come back to this side. Now what we'll have to do is flip this upside down, so that is 180 degrees. Okay, now we want to make sure this fits in there. And right here, you see this little black triangle. This is moving it. Once you select that, you can move it up and down. So we want to move it down. Okay. Okay, we're almost there because we want to make sure they touched. Otherwise, the 3D printer will make two different shapes. Okay, as you can see, they're touching. So that is it. So this is one arm of it. So now what we want to do is group everything together. And this one is grouping. Group. So this is done. This is one shape. Okay. Why is there this little? Well, it looks fine. Okay. So what we want to do next is we want to duplicate this. So select that, duplicate, and we want to tilt it 40, let's see, we want to tilt 45 degrees. So it'll be like that. Okay. Okay, around there. That should be 45. Yes. So now we can go ahead and duplicate again and duplicate again. And we have a water wheel. Okay. So, but we're not done yet. So now we have to go ahead and highlight everything, and we're going to group all of them together. So this is one object now. Once it's one object, we want to make sure we pull everything up so it is above the plane. Now, what is the next thing is we want to drill a hole right here in the middle so that a spoke can go in. So all we need to do is drag out a cylinder. Okay. And now we want to flip this onto the ground. Where is it? Nope. This way. 90 degrees. And we can put this on to 0. So it's on the plane. Now, we just made this into a 10 by 10. I remember is what, let's see, we count from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the length of it is 10, correct? And actually, I come to think of it, we might want to make it a little bit bigger. And if you want to make it bigger, all we have to do is just drag this. You see it right here. Once I press it in that dot right there, now it says 100 by 100. So that means it's 100 millimeter by 100 millimeter. So we want to change that to 12 centimeters or 120 millimeters. So we just stretch it all the way to 120. So now 120 millimeters. And as you recall, this would still be 7 millimeters. We just go ahead and highlight both and align, align, and align. So now this thing is done. Okay. So, but before we are done with this, we also have to group everything. So we make sure this is one component. Okay. So now this is one component is done. What we need to do now is to actually make a stand to fit this thing in. As you recall, this water wheel right here, it is 2. Let's double check it. I believe it's 2. Yep, it's 2 centimeters width. So let me look at my ruler. Uh, that looks actually a little bit small. So I want to make it a little bit bigger. So I just stretch it to maybe to 3. All right. So now this looks much better. Okay. So what we can do next, now we know the height is 3. So we want to make a base. So go ahead and drag out another shape. And we want it flat. So maybe half a centimeter. And let's drag out the length. Let's make it quite long. All right. Um. Okay. So and let's make sure the width is only, remember, 2 centimeters, and this, because this is actually, if you look, I'm going to show you. Let me see how do I stand this thing up this way. So this is actually going to be at the on top. So as we can see, from here to here is 3 centimeters. So we want to make sure it is actually longer than 3 centimeters, or wider than 3 centimeters. So let's make it 3.5. Okay, all right. So that is good. Now we want to. Oh, I actually don't want that. Let me delete that. I want to actually a triangular shape. Maybe, yep, maybe one of these. So this one, I want it to be quite flat, I think. Oh, okay. Move it. And I want it to be just maybe half a centimeter. Yep. Okay. So I want to make it bigger. Oh. Let me see exactly. The length is 99, so I want to make it. I want to make sure it's 10. Okay. So now we know that's 10 centimeters. Oh, okay. And okay. Getting there. We're getting there. Okay. Okay. So we know this is 10. So let's see. Yep, it's 10 right here. And we want this to be higher though. And how high? Let's see. This total, we changed it to 12, correct? The water wheel. So we know half of 12 is 6. So, and that means it has to be at least 6, if not higher. So this is 6, but we want to have a little bit of space. Okay, because remember, this thing is, let's see, this height is half a centimeter. So we want to make it maybe about 7, if not 8. All right, 7.5. All right, so this is good. So now we need to put a hole here so that we can put a shaft through this hole right here, correct? And now let's go get a hole, grab a cylinder, and remember what was the diameter in this? It was 7 millimeters, I remember. So let's go ahead and change this to 7 by 7. All right, so 7 by 7. Now we want to turn it. Ninety degrees. Okay. And I want to lift it up. So how high do we want to lift this up? Let's just think about this. We know this is 0.5 centimeters, and we want this to be in here, correct? But not touching. So we need this to be a little bit higher. So it's not touching. You see, there's a little gap. And now, ooh, so it seems like we might need to make this even higher. Okay, 9.5. So now we can go ahead and put that in the center. Let's see, this and this, and we want this to be higher. All right. Okay, so now let's move this onto the side. Let's take a look. So now remember, we need to, oh, sorry, we need to go ahead and get these two shapes, and we need to align again, and we want it to be smack in the middle. Okay, and we don't want it to, oh, sorry. All right, so we just need to push this through. So there's a hole. Now, as you can see, there's a hole. So you don't have to make it precise as long as a hole, okay? Because when you print, it's still going to be nothing. Now we can just go ahead and group this, and we can duplicate and put that on this side. So now just gotta make sure, as you can see, it's not in the right place. Now it is, I believe. Let's take a look at the bottom. Yep, everything seems to be right now. So as you can see, if we take, what I want to do first, I want to make sure I group these three things together, group it. So that's another group. And I'm going to change color. So I'm going to make it paler. Now, if I move this and move it, I want to make sure I have enough space. It does seem a little bit tight. All right, so we can always make it a little bit wider. All right, as we can see, there's enough gap so it won't create any friction. Okay, good. Now we can put this. Oh, where did it go? It went too far away. I gotta bring it back. See? And we have plenty of space so it won't touch. Okay. But I recall, let's see, this one is 3 centimeters from here to here, and this one is 51. But this is half a centimeter and half a centimeter, so that's 1, so that's 50. So there's 2 centimeter gap basically. So there's 1 centimeter gap per side. 1 centimeter gap per side. Well, that actually is a little bit too much. So we want to maybe take away 1 centimeter. So instead of 51, I'm going to make it 50. Yep. Okay. Perfect. All right, and we can put a chopstick through it. And now we want to make sure this thing is flat again so we can print it. So what we need to do is turn this to 90 degrees and put it back to 0. All right. And we want to make sure everything is in the plane. As you can see, part of it is out of the plane. So we move it back into the plane. So when we print, everything will be right there. This is it.